What are you to do if you have seen all these cool videos about really cool cars like the Honda Civic Type R and the GR Corolla? Those cars have like 300 horsepower, stick shift transmissions, but by the time you actually get out the door with them, you're looking at about $50,000, and that's a lot of money. $50,000 is not small change. What if you want that experience, but you want to pay about $15,000 less? Well, I would consider this. This is the 2025 Honda Civic Si, and I'm in beautiful Prince Edward Island to tell you all about it. Basically, in my opinion, this is like the Honda Civic Type R that you can actually afford, and it's so much more than a badge. It's so much more than a body kit. They're actually pretty serious about this car. So I think it's time to hit the road, and I'll tell you all about it. So, the Honda Civic Si. Pulling out, and we're going to notice that it is a stick shift. A 6-speed manual, listen to that engine, is the only way this car comes. And also, the Honda Civic Si is a North American exclusive. It is only for the North American markets. I think it's really cool. So what this car is it's building on the Civic Sport. So let's start with the mechanical upgrades. What does the Civic Si buy you? A lot of hardware, actually. You get larger brakes than you find on a standard Civic. They're not like branded Brembo brakes or anything. They're regular brakes, but they're bigger. You also get kind of a nice little body kit. You have a front spoiler, which Honda says is hidden under the vehicle. I have not found it yet, but I do believe it's there. You get a matching rear trunk lid spoiler for all that high-speed downforce, but you also get more power from the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine. In this form, it makes 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. You also get downshift rev matching from the Honda Civic Type R, a standard helical limited slip front differential, and a special interior. You actually get a lot. The base Civic starts at about $27,000, the Civic Sport about $31,000, and this Civic Si $35,000. But on all of those models, you would add the 1,830 freight and PDI charge. So this one, as you see it, is $37,000 and change. So you actually do get a pretty good amount of hardware. And I'm using the heck out of that rev matching feature from the Honda Civic Type R. This road has a handy little turnaround, so I'm gonna nail it in second gear. Here we go, full boost, roll into it. My boost gauge says I'm making 14 pounds at the peak. That is a spicy 1.5-liter engine. And there's a bunch of cool things about the interior as well. Obviously, the regular Honda Civic has a great interior. I love this full-width honeycomb panel. Here in the Si, it's treated to some sporty red trim and my favorite type of seats, sporty seats in cloth. I love cloth in a sporty application. It holds you in. It doesn't kind of slide around like vinyl or leather. I just like it better. I love sporty cloth seats, and these ones are so supportive, and they're manually adjustable, which is what I also like because it keeps the weight down and makes the car feel more focused, as does that engine. And it's basically just a tuned version of the 1.5 you'd get in the Sport, but here the exhaust system is special to the Si for less restriction, and the sound is honestly great. I also have these shift lights that come up on the dash. They start yellow and eventually red, telling me to upshift. And it's all just a bit of theater, but why not make the car fun? How much does it cost them to put some light bulbs in? I'll wind it out, yellow lights. It's just so much fun to drive quickly. And I can't believe this engine is only 1.5 liters. And I also can't believe it's only 200 horsepower, because on a big highway, you know, we've been complaining that 200 horsepower in the BRZ isn't enough to even get you over a hill to school and back, to get groceries. Here we are in the Honda Civic, and with a 6-speed manual, 200 horsepower feels pretty sprightly. I don't know if we are rightfully complaining about things or if we're just spoiled. For 2025, the Civic Si gets a few extra tweaks. Honda has actually tweaked the design of the bottom of the B-pillar behind me and the design of the rear door opening to increase rigidity. This increase, which they didn't give me a percentage, was enough that they actually retuned the Civic Si's dampers to account for it. And yes, the Civic Si does get special dampers compared to the regular Civic or the Civic Sport. So for the money, you're getting extra power, braking, handling, aerodynamics, and a special interior. It's a pretty consummate performance package. And I love that it comes with this 6-speed manual. Now, all manuals are not made the same, and I'm pleased to report that this is a good one. What makes a good manual? I like things like how the weight between gears is so well defined. I think the throw back and forth is perfect. It's a little narrow laterally, gate to gate, but it hits my magic mark of being a gear shift that you want to just use because it's fun. I also like how the gears are spaced. There are 6 gears, 6 forward gears, and they are all just one on top of the other. You are just bam, bam, up and down through these gears. They're right on top of each other. It's too much fun. In fact, the gears are really closely spaced and quite short, so like at highway speeds, it's not uncommon for this thing to be doing over 3,000 RPM in 6th gear. There's maybe a fuel economy payoff for that, but honestly, I don't notice it. This thing gets really good mileage. Now, when you make a lot of power from a small displacement engine, you're typically gonna have to put really nice fuel in it. This car will run on 87 regular gasoline, but it is recommended to run it on 91, and I would suspect that to get that power figure, that's what you've gotta do. You're just pushing so much air into a small engine, you've gotta put the good juice in it. And now that I've cut traffic because I'm in a canyon carving Si, it gives me a chance to slow down and talk about the real life usability of this car. One of the things I like most about this car is that it's still a Civic. It's still entirely functional for regular driving. This trunk back there is actually full of 3 different suitcases and gear for an entire week away in a Honda Civic. The front seat and the back seat are spacious and comfortable. I've got USB-C charging out back and here up front and a wireless charge pad. The stereo is, well, it's okay, but I've got heated seats front and back, and I just don't know how you could complain about that for the price. This car, also the ride is sporty on these special performance tires that the Si comes on, but not objectionable. It's definitely a usable car and it's not too hardcore. I think that the Si could absolutely be your only car, everyday car. It's just such a flexible vehicle. It can do kind of whatever you want it to do. I will say that a downside that we can't really experience here because this road is just beautiful is that on the highway, especially if the pavement's not very good, there's a lot of tire noise. I don't know why, but this is like a Honda hallmark. Hondas just do have more tire noise than other cars. This one's on performance tires, but I've experienced it in everything from the Accord to the CR-V. I think it's just how they build cars. So if you've got a ton of highway miles to do, the road noise mixed with the pretty short top gear, I don't know if I would recommend this car for that. It's not a freeway bomber like some cars are, but it is so much fun when you get to put it in the corners. Another thing I like for actual everyday usability is built-in native Google Maps navigation. It is superb. I love having Google Maps right here in the car. I like that it's not off my phone like usual, and it's even, I prefer it to using Google Maps in CarPlay. It's a treat. I wish every car had this. Another thing that the Civic does I like is when I press a button, it clicks at me. And I know it's a touchscreen, but I kind of like that feedback to know that my request has at least been registered. I have had, to be honest, a few issues syncing my Bluetooth phone to the car now and then. It's not completely obvious how to pair a phone. That's kind of annoying. But once you get it hooked up, it is great. I love this native Google Maps system. One thing I don't like is the backup camera. I don't know why, but the field of view on it is super strange. It's pretty blurry, and it makes you feel like you're gonna hit something even though you're really, really far from it. It seems like a backup camera from like 10 years ago. I don't understand what gives with that. And with that little engine and that turbo working pretty hard, throttle response is it's more boosty feeling than naturally aspirated, but I kind of don't mind. It's pretty fun. In fact, I actually wish I could hear the turbo working, because while it does pull to the end of the tachometer, I don't hear any turbo noises. I don't hear any whooshing or blow-off valves, and I don't know, it'd be nice if they did. That said, I have to give them 100%, 10 out of 10 for the exhaust note of this car. It's fun, it's burbly, it sounds real. There's no like fake burble tune on this thing. This is a perfect exhaust note for a Civic Si. It is sporty, but you could live with it and you don't sound like you're driving a teenager's car. This is also one of the few cars I've ever driven where I prefer to drive it in sport mode. Usually sport mode, it's just like annoying. It leaves the revs hanging too high, and I usually don't prefer it, but in this, it's perfect because there's no upshift light. I'm left to my own devices with the transmission. I can do whatever I want, although there is no gauge that tells me what gear I'm in with the narrow gates. That would be kind of nice. But it sharpens up the throttle response. It turns off the start-stop, which I usually don't mind, but in a manual, it's kind of disconcerting. And it reduces the assist of the steering, and I like feeling a little bit more of what the front wheels are doing. Now, like, you put this thing on the limit on a racetrack, it's gonna behave like a production car. It's gonna push. But it is just perfect for a spirited cruise on roads like this without sacrificing the boring commute to and from the roads. It's equally good at both. Honda effectively built this car out of parts they already had, but the result is just so much better than the parts it came from. Like, I'm sure that these bigger brakes are just from an Accord or something, just a larger Honda product. But the brake feel is perfect. They feel totally natural here. I also really like this generation of Civic aesthetically compared to the previous generation because they moved these A-pillars 2 inches rearward to give it an actual hood. The previous ones look like a computer mouse to me. Now, an interesting thing about this color is it is urban gray pearl metallic, and it is new for 2025 on the Civic Si, but it was previously available on the Accord and the CR-V. So Honda will now let you buy this color on the Si. And the other aesthetic changes for 2025 is you get a new hex-shaped grille in the front of the car and a new, more aggressive front fascia. So they've made a few aesthetic tweaks to the car for 2025, but honestly, I was sleeping on the Civic Si. This thing is great, and it is well under the price bracket of the Civic Type R and the GR Corolla. And I think that you should especially consider this car when you think about the fact that the GTI, Volkswagen GTI, now no longer offers a manual transmission. So if you wanted to get a stick shift hot hatch-ish car, it's only available as a 4-door sedan, and you wanted it with a stick, the GTI is no longer an option. So if you want a sporty car that's less than 50 grand, that can kind of do everything with a stick shift, you really should check this out. I couldn't think of what else you would check this out. This is so much more athletic than a Jetta GLI, which you can get with a stick, but like, that just feels like a regular Jetta to me. This feels properly sporty. And little details like the shift lights and the special seats, they really do make it feel special in this car, which is really, really admirable at this price point. It's crazy that nearly $40,000 for a Civic seems like a good deal, Canadian dollars, by the way, but that is just where we are at these days. So that wraps it up for my review of the 2025 Honda Civic Si. For more sporty car reviews, check out our YouTube channel. And for my full written review of this car, where I go into a little more detail, check out our website, of course, at Driving.ca. And now I'm going to enjoy this road, this shifter, and make my way to a lighthouse.